Greetings and salutations. My name is Schwahn, and today we were checking out Atlas Fallen. Now, Atlas Fallen is made by Deck13. That's the team behind The Surge and The Surge 2. So they got a pretty good pedigree going on of like having these really unique games that were formerly within the Soulsian space, the Souls-like. And I know that this game is not. This game is kind of a different direction for them. This game was also originally supposed to release in May, and it didn't, maybe to get away from Tears of the Kingdom, or because they needed some additional development time, and so now it's going to release in August. But one thing on that is that, like, they got away from freaking Tears of the Kingdom and then just, like, threw themselves up against games like Baldur's Gate and Armored Core and Starfield, and it's like, this ain't better. I mean, maybe, but I feel like this is still a scary ass time to release a game. But you know, it is what it is. So they have a lot of marketing actually available for this game. We had the world premiere back in August of 2022, and we were going to work our way forward from there. But some of these trailers are really chunky, as just a heads up. Like the latest one is the combat trailer from July, and it is it's 5 minutes long, but there's also like a freaking gameplay presentation that's 7 minutes long. So if you didn't already notice the time code, strap in. Here we go.
The sand has memories. Memories of our past, when gods walked this world, and our heroes stood amongst them. But the gods' vanity grew, and in their struggle, we were cast away. Only remnants of these stories remain in the sand. In the ruins of this shattered, broken world.
Looks like people are scraping out an existence, though. Humans are stubborn frickin' creatures, aren't we? Oh, well, that's fucking convenient, ain't it? Damn it, I just made myself tired by rebuilding the bridge. Fine, I'll fight these things too.
Even in ruins, we endure. We won't let go.
Oh, well, fuck. That didn't last very long.
We can stand for ourselves. And face gods.
Where'd you get, like, the blood axe? This game looks cool. I mean, I know a lot of people felt kind of weird about it, and there was some people that got to, some content creators that got like a hands-on preview of it, and they were like, I don't know. And I think that's kind of the general sentiment. It's like after The Surge and The Surge 2, everyone expected the next Deck13 game to just be another Soulsian, and the fact that it's not, and it's like this kind of almost like Nier Automata feeling ass game, everyone's like, I don't know. Here is the Rise from Dust gameplay reveal trailer from March of 2023.
You should have kept in line. I have fought your kind before. And it only led to ruin.
Is this a god talking? Do we get to kill gods in this game?
I am the order of this world.
I also have a voice changer.
Its rule. You may think you have power. But your struggle is futile.
They really like showing that shot of you being able to like skate across the sand.
Like the rest of them.
May 16th, pre-order now. So when was this game originally announced? It was announced in August of 2023 and was slated to release on May 16th. To Deck13 and to Focus Entertainment, who's the publishers, thanks for announcing a game and its release date being within a year. And I know that it's going to be like almost exactly a year now because you did delay it, which is fine. I'm just so tired of seeing these games that get announced and they don't get released for like 5 freaking years. Here's the gameplay overview trailer from June of 2023. So this is after the delay, actually. I forgot just how little marketing there was before they decided to push the game out. And then there's been a hot amount of marketing in the time since. All right, here we go. They are very proud of that sand skating thing.
Take up the gauntlet. Liberate mankind. Destroy the sun god. This is Atlas Fallen.
Is destroying a sun god a good idea?
With rediscovered power comes hope for humanity. Enslaved for centuries and worshipped to Thelos, you finally have a way to fight back and grow from one of the unnamed to champion of the people on Atlas.
Come, Gauntlet Bearer.
Meet your gargantuan foes with an arsenal of powerful, magical weaponry and skills that turn enemies to dust again. Don't want to cross the deserts alone? Bring a friend to experience this massive action RPG in seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op.
What do you mean by
Atlas
seamless?
was not always the home of wraiths and buried ruins.
Come, up with you. We have to move.
Thelos, the sun god, stripped its people of everything. Homes,
There's a co-op trailer. Maybe they'll
lives,
explain.
Even their names. They are forced to dig and mine and sift through the wreckage of our world for essence, a magical substance that is raised to his glory.
It is mine. Thelos demands it.
You are but one among these millions, venturing across the sands to deliver essence to the capital. Stumbling across the gauntlet opens up a new path for you and humanity. The ability to explore the realm, brimming with things to discover for the eager adventurer and people who need your help.
We've been walking for hours.
I wouldn't complain. We're lucky enough the passage didn't collapse on us.
And you're not out in the sand.
Crossing the land with your newfound powers is a much easier task than before your discovery. As you explore and empower the gauntlet, your abilities will evolve, letting you fly through the air
and gets
or
everywhere.
glide across the dunes as you see fit. Along the way, submerged structures, chests, and secrets will beckon you to discover them and restore more of the world. Much has been lost, but maybe not forever.
When will you learn? You are unnamed for a reason, and no one will ever notice.
Unless I kill you.
Dead unnamed.
That's fine. We survived through
Atlas is a dangerous
main character
world.
syndrome.
And for the rebellious, even more so. Wraiths stalk the land, eager to shape your grave from the endless dunes. Smaller enemies are quickly dispatched with your ever-evolving weaponry, but stay on your toes for the legendary creatures that will bar your way. Each is a massive and terrifying beast that will take all
That
your
one looks
skill,
cute and fluffy. I would like to keep it.
and unique strategies
What
to
the
defeat.
fuck just happened with this UI? I just realized I don't think we've seen the UI up until this point. What is all of that shit? Specifically, so like the thing in the top left corner, it looks like the monster's body parts have individual health bars or something. That's fine. My question is, and I'm sorry if it's a little difficult to see, is there's this blue bar down here at the bottom that it looks like a freaking like level 3 power bar from Street Fighter, but along the bar very clearly is abilities. And I don't know what that means because none of those abilities across this look like the abilities over in that far right corner. No, none of them match. So I don't know, because like the red bar is probably your HP. The red bar above it is probably your co-op partner's HP, but I'm getting jaded by these storylines, these epic fantasy tropes. If the game's fun, I can get over it, but I do understand.
Every enemy has weak points, joints, limbs, or other places where the liberal application of force can yield great results.
A liberal
Targeting
application of
these
force.
and
Beat
choosing
the
right
fuck out of
ones
it.
at the right moments is key to success on Atlas against its many foes.
When I heard the stories about this gauntlet bearer, I knew we would cross paths again.
Well, a lot has happened, but let's get to someplace safe.
How many safe
The gauntlet
places
means
exist?
the sands themselves become your weapon. Each strike creates momentum, building to a mighty shatter attack that crushes your foes. This gets more and more powerful as you fight, leading to a titanic finale of destructive power. Mix and match the Dune Cleaver, Sand Whip, and Knuckle Dust with more than 100 Essence Stones to build a playstyle that is truly your own. This provides a myriad of combinations of active and passive skills to experiment with and find the best way to bring down each monster you face.
How easy is
Whether
it
you
to
intend to
experiment?
impale your enemies, live through the most devastating attacks, or unleash aerial combos, there's a style for you. Essence Stones are found all over the world, including from smashing parts off your enemies, as well as being specifically crafted by you to get the effects you want. From fluid playstyles to big hits, perfect blocks to dodges and rolls, you determine every part of your build.
Okay. Oh, you're saying
Exploring
things
and
I like.
experimenting is half the fun. If that all sounds overwhelming alone, you're in luck. Atlas Fallen supports co-op play with a friend for its entire campaign.
Okay.
A satisfying challenge on its own, in co-op, the possibilities for character builds and team-up attacks are limitless.
There is a separate co-op
Execute
trailer
unique combos
that I'm
and
hoping
build
answers the
synergies to
question
even
that I
the
have
odds
before I
and
ask
take
it.
the fight to Thelos.
There you go, Thesselmar. He hit that one on the
Rise
face.
and conquer the gods in Atlas Fallen. Coming soon on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC.
I think the next one is the co-op trailer. Okay, before I verbalize the question that I have, I'm going to watch this trailer, and then I'll share a concern that I have. If this doesn't abate the concern anyway. The abilities do look really cool. Yeah. Kind of reminds you of Outriders. I can see that. Yeah, I enjoyed Outriders though. Like it definitely had some quirks, but I genuinely enjoyed Outriders. Okay, so it did not answer the question. Now, we do still have 2 more trailers, both of which are chunky. One 7 minutes and one that is 5 minutes, and maybe it'll be in one of those. But here's my concern, okay? Because earlier on in these trailers, they said seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op, all right? Which initially sounds like, oh, that's cool. You can just join your friend whenever you want. And you're like, yeah. However, the other question is that they said the campaign is fully able to be completed co-op. That's great. But there has been this trend lately of that the way that gameplay progresses in co-op for different members of the group kind of sucks. There's been a whole host of games that it's like progress only counts for the host. And you're like, okay, well, I just played through 7 hours with my friend. I don't get any progress. Nope. Fuck you both. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that sucks a lot. I guess you're only joining me. And the other thing on that is like, what does that mean for progression? Like, does it not matter? Like, do I get progression if I join my friend's game and beat this boss that I haven't beaten yet? It doesn't matter if I've already beat the boss, because if I'm joining their game, then the boss will be there and I can help them beat the boss. But if I beat the boss in their game, do I then have to rebeat it in mine? Like, is there like a power balance thing of any sort, or can somebody out-level their friend and then join their friend's game and then just kersplack the crap out of the game? Like, how does that work? Because co-op in general, I love co-op. But with the way that this was presented and described, it makes me nervous of like, do they, if you want to play the game co-op, do they need to join you from the beginning? I know they said seamless drop in, drop out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your friend's like, oh yeah, just jump in my game, and they've barely started the game and you're like halfway through it. So they're like, oh my God, help me. Like, what is it? How does that work? I have concerns about that specifically. Otherwise, so far, I like most of everything we're seeing. This is the behind-the-scenes gameplay presentation. This is from July 13th of 2023. And then after that, we have a 5-minute-long combat trailer. So, let's keep going.
Atlas Fallen is an action RPG. It's about combat, it's about fast-paced action, fighting, and using all your skills together to bring down cool big monsters.
Maybe this guy will explain it.
So I love to work on things that are like action adventure, where you can go into a completely new space, a new fresh land, and really get into the nitty-gritty of exploring and finding hidden mysteries, and being able to artistically develop that even further is just so much fun to do.
I'm always very happy to be in this idea finding phase and then see how can we really turn it into a real game so that everything works as a whole.
We thought, okay, we did sci-fi in the past, so let's explore fantasy.
The world of Atlas is a unique medieval fantasy world where mighty gods control the fate of mankind, and they really subdued all of humankind.
So you begin your journey as an unnamed, a part of a caravan transporting essence to the golden city of Bethesda.
There are different factions in this game, and I think those you will meet most often in the game are first the fighters and the soldiers.
That's a really cool looking environment.
So they're in charge of keeping the pathways clear to move the caravans with the essence through the kingdom, and they're pretty harsh against any human who opposes them.
We have a great level design team who has really worked on trying to figure out how we could get this knowledge from the Surge games and bring it into this new, more fast-paced, movement-oriented world.
The most interesting aspect of the world of Atlas Fallen is its scale and verticality. How can we make sure that the player cannot break out of our world, while also ensuring that they perceive the grandest possible freedom in the way they move and explore.
In order to find out all these things in the world, you have super special abilities. You have the sand gliding, which is basically like surfing down sand dunes and having really fast-paced exploration.
Throughout production, it became faster and faster because we noticed, oh, it's still fun, and it's even more fun if we just tune it up a bit more.
Yeah, and you waste less of the player's time.
That are completely preserved due to the world and how it is, and hidden from the sun, from Thelos. So something that inspired me during Atlas Fallen was Dune. It's really cool to see how Dune approaches sand. And what I found more interesting for me to explore with Dune as a base is to look at other fantasy titles. So going from Lord of the Rings to The Witcher, and understanding how those worlds are constructed, and then adding our visual twist. So taking real world examples of quarries and how sand over thousands of years would affect those states has been really interesting for us to explore.
The sand is...
How do you do that? Just out of curiosity, I don't know how that works, like how you do that research about trying to figure out, like, if sand was buffeting a forest for 50 years, what would the forest be like, right? And like I had a similar question to that same vein of like, what would humans look like if we had evolved to survive on a world that just always had 50-mile-per-hour winds? Just always, right? Like, how do you do that research of figuring out what a human would look like if suddenly the wind was always blowing 50 miles per hour? We would eventually evolve and change to adapt to that environment, but I don't know how that process works.
It's under our control.
Sorry.
It carries us.
We try to think out of the box that we have built for us and make the levels bigger, or the player character faster, or the monsters more interesting.
I think you can really find many things from our previous games in our gameplay mechanics, and this was important for us. We like to preserve many things that we think are cool and that our people can do well and that players like.
We decided to go with like different difficulty levels, but the essence we keep is the body parts, that you're able to target specific body parts of the enemy in order to have like a tactical angle to the combat.
Yeah, that's definitely them pulling their experience from the Surge and the Surge 2.
So we really wanted to make the fight be something that anyone can pick up and feel like they're doing fantastic things. They are like swinging the big axes, really having immediate feelings and sensations of power. I believe it is quite easy to pick up Atlas Fallen and start doing some things that people find cool. So the core of the combat system is what we call the momentum.
When the momentum meter is full, you ascend into the air and smash down on the enemy and just leave him in shatters. And that, for me at least, it's super exciting.
The Essence Stones are inspired by the implant, with this idea that the player will be able to tailor their playstyle and their moveset, and will be unlocking progressively new moves, new abilities, passive and active, during the fight for the player.
I think it feels like the game really has two core pillars. One is the combat, the fighting, the action, and one is the exploration of the game world.
Something really cool that I hope players enjoy is getting to these high vantage points in the world and just looking out at what's in the horizon. It's going to be really fun to see how people interact with this and how deep they go into the exploration in Atlas.
For such a grand
Exploration's
game,
hard to get
so
right, though.
Movement freedom is, I think, pretty unique. So there's a lot of choice for the player on how they can play the game and how they can engage with the world.
You're completely free to do crazy things and to mix things that are maybe more weird to other players, but if you like that, then maybe it's your play style and you have some very special fun. Just do it.
There's going to be some fuck-off build that is just the weirdest shit you've ever seen, and it just completely dominates everything in the game.
Start to finish, almost seamlessly.
But aside from that, everything is very flexible, hopping up off at any point of the game, any point of the story. They can join with a friend, drop out, continue in solo, continue with another friend.
And that's what I think Atlas Fallen is really good at, because since we have the co-op, like a more experienced genre player can come there to help out his friend.
Yeah, the graphics, like, it's weird, though, because the graphics at one scene, you're like, oh, that still needs, like, some polishing, or the textures haven't loaded, or, like, some aliasing is really aggressive, and then at other points, you're like, oh, that looks really, really good. I think it's just different clips from different parts of the development stages for different environments, but overall, it looks pretty fantastic.
It touches humans more than the voice, and so we recorded a choir in Sofia specifically for the game, because that's another thing. Choirs can hardly be mimicked by technology. The intensity of the music changes within combat, so the more intense the combat gets, the more intense the music gets. My main job was to fill the world with
that
sounds
B-roll
and
footage
with
of his
music.
fingers
And
was a little weird.
I say sounds because it's all about sand, it's about essence, it's about this mystical world that you try to discover.
My favorite aspect of Atlas Fallen is actually that we have a very special setting and you have a very, very agile way of discovering it. You can surf through it and still there's a lot waiting for you everywhere, and I think this combination is really cool.
I hope everyone will really enjoy the game. We put all of our heart into it. We took a lot of risk again, tried to do new things, and I hope in the end people will feel the passion we put in this project and will enjoy it.
I hope players really enjoy the exploration of the game and really enjoy the fast-paced action that they have. And this combination, I hope, is unique and give them a lot of fun.
Man, good luck, guys. Not because I don't think that you have a good product, but because, like, Deck13, you make really good games, okay? Like, I really enjoyed The Surge. But when it comes to... like, I feel like their games have such a hard time gaining attraction and gaining attention and gaining, like, some momentum. And I know that they moved away from the May release date, and I don't remember the exact reason why. But one thing that they avoided with that May, delaying past May, is they avoided Tears of the Kingdom, which was a really smart choice, in my opinion. But they moved it into August, and, like, you can't just keep moving your game around. I understand that, but, man, August is a scary month, right? Because we have friggin' Baldur's Gate 3 releases a week before this one, and people won't be done with Baldur's Gate 3 by a week, right? Now, I understand Baldur's Gate 3, very different style of game from Atlas Fallen, but there's a lot of other games that kind of brush on its territory in a lot of ways that are releasing around that same time frame. Immortals of Aveum is releasing like August 22nd. You have Starfield like September 6th. You have Lies of P September like 22nd or something like that. And like there's some room, but it's not a lot of room. So like I think that you guys have a pretty good looking game. Armored Core, oh yeah, Armored Core, that's August like what, 16th? So like a week after this one is Armored Core. That's probably the most dangerous one, because this game is like, obviously you got Armored Core with like a big jumpy around fuck you mechs, and this game is big jump around fuck you humans with like magic powers and axes, but they're very similar style of games. And there's even more games that I know that I'm forgetting, and I'm like, man, I wish you guys luck. Okay, here's the combat trailer. This is the most recent trailer. This just released within the last couple of weeks, towards the end of July. So this should have the most updated like view of the combat system, and maybe they'll explain it just a little bit more, because I am still curious about how some of those things work, because they were talking about momentum as a mechanic, but I don't know what that means, and they haven't explained it yet. So here's the combat trailer. I bet this game doesn't look super good when the action is low. It seems to thrive when combat is happening. Yeah, you're probably right. Unless it's a completely still image and you're looking at, you know, just like the pretty landscape.
Atlas Fallen is an action RPG set in a devastated, sand-covered world, ruled by an almighty and merciless sun god who drains the planet, leaving only dust on the surface.
You know, one thing on the combat before this goes too much farther also is that they've talked multiple times about how, like, the gods, plural, are the subjugators of humanity, and that humans just work to collect up this essence and stuff. The only god they've mentioned is the Therios, or whatever his name is just now, the sun god. That's the only one they've mentioned. They have not mentioned a single other god beyond that they exist. And I don't know what that means. Like, are the other gods not as shitlords? Or are they dead? Or are they just not where this is happening at? Like, you know, is there the god of rain that just has, like, everyone living on islands off in a different part of the world instead of the sand-covered part of the world? Like,
the lands
I don't know.
of Atlas are dangerous and mysterious places. They are deadly to errant travelers and you, until you find a divine artifact. This gauntlet is infused with the power to shape the sand, which might be just enough to face the sun god's wrath. Combat in Atlas Fallen starts with this gauntlet, your main source of offensive and defensive capabilities. It only takes a simple button press to cast attacks, and you can equip 2 main weapons at the same time to intertwine powerful combos. Be versatile with the transforming Doom Cleaver, unleash long-range strikes with the Sand Whip, or pound enemies with a flurry of fists using the Knuckle Dust. Mix and match any 2 of your preferred combat styles, and watch as each weapon evolves during combat, growing larger and more deadly. The action in Atlas Fallen is fast-paced, agile, and intense.
Looks really good.
Moving freely on most terrain, you rapidly jump into action, evade attacks, dash through the air, and enjoy truly dynamic gameplay. One of the most unique combat features is the momentum.
Thank you. The blue bar is the momentum gauge.
Builds your momentum and grants you the ability to perform special attacks or trigger a wide range of effects in combat. The more momentum you have, the more powerful your weapons become.
Do the abilities spend the momentum?
However, as the more your momentum increases, the more damage you take.
Oh, okay. I've played Tales of Berseria.
Reward mechanic that constantly encourages you to analyze the fight and choose strategically when to cash in on your potential.
So here's the problem with that mechanic, okay? Is that, that's somewhere you just mentioned Susanoo from Blaze Blue, you have to attack to unlock new moves. But they didn't say if the moves spend your momentum. It feels like they do, but here's the other question, okay? Is it ever actually the right time to cash out your momentum versus just beating ass at maximum momentum? Like, that's the hard thing to balance, right? Because, like, sure, you take more damage at higher momentum, so it's like high risk, high reward. But as long as you aren't fucking it up, is it going to ever be the right choice to cash out? Like, maybe when it's full and you can do like a big fuck off super move, like the big crazy crystal hammer drop that we saw. But most of the time when I see games that have these mechanics, the best choice is to just stay at maximum stacks. Like, even if it means that you're taking more damage, you're at higher risk, the best choice most of the time in those mechanics is to get your stacks to max, and you never let them drop. You never cash them out ever, unless like the boss is about to go to another phase, so you're like, I'm gonna cash out my stacks now because like I'm just not gonna have them available because he's just gonna run away for 30 seconds, and if I don't use it now, then I won't have an opportunity to use it because my momentum bar is gonna start to drain or whatever, right? That would be my concern. Now, mind you, I will say the general combat looks pretty good, so if it means that your best play is to just keep your momentum going, like, that's fine. But when it looks like you build up momentum and that unlocks new and cool abilities, if those abilities aren't good enough to be worth losing the damage that you gain from maxing out your momentum, that really hurts my want to use these cool abilities, because it's like I would just be more effective if I didn't do the cool move and just kept hitting him with my basic attacks. I don't think that we'll have an answer to that until we play the game, but it is one of my largest concerns right now.
Momentum is also heavily tied into playstyle customization in Atlas Fallen.
Maybe they will explain.
On top of armor sets with different stats to collect and upgrade, and idols to pump up your healing abilities, the game also features more than 150 Essence Stones to completely shape your own way to play. A sandstorm that blows away everything in its path. A giant hammer falling from the sky. Mine traps. A great swirling kick. A leap forward to rush into action, throwing devastating projectiles to keep your distance. The list goes on and on.
Lots of options. Like you said, that's smart. Very feeling of Outriders, where you can kind of choose your build and your friend can too, and that can interact in unique ways.
For shields, debuffs, and healing. Momentum is also cashed out for truly devastating attacks that obliterate enemies. These consume your entire bar, but always deal incredible damage to help you shatter body parts.
Like, I think the full bar super moves are probably worth it, but my question is anything
these
else?
Combat tools and abilities will be crucial to face a wide bestiary of wraiths. From packs of small monsters lurking beneath the sand, to gigantic bosses with more advanced movesets, combat requires you to adapt and play wisely. Target and attack specific body parts to incapacitate larger wraiths, disabling their attacks, and making them drop unique resources to further increase your potential. Of course, you don't have to be alone to face the gods. Atlas Fallen is fully playable in online 2-player co-op mode, from start to finish, with the least amount of restriction possible. Join any friend to enjoy the full story campaign together, and create builds with strong synergies thanks to diverse Essence Stones designed with cooperation in mind. Protect each other.
This tells me that co-op is probably going to be the best way to play this game.
Atlas Fallen Co-op provides a fun and refreshing way to enjoy your journey. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more information and details about Atlas Fallen.
Guys, the game releases in a week, and this is the most recent trailer. Like, you talk about releasing more information. When? Where? All right, so that's Atlas Fallen. New game from Deck13. Like I said, the minds behind the Surge of the Surge 2. It looks pretty cool. I do know that there are some preview videos from some content creators. I know like SkillUp got a hands-on preview of the game where he got to go play it and like share some early thoughts. But that was a while ago, and the game has I wouldn't say drastically changed, but has changed since then. Because they did delay the game by, what is that, 3 months from May to August? Yeah. So, you know, it looks like we got some polish in that time, because those earlier trailers versus the most recent one, there's definitely a difference in quality between them. But yeah, I like the way this looks a lot. I have a couple of questions, a couple of concerns, and I don't think any of them will be able to be answered or really like put to rest until like getting to play the game, because I don't feel like they're answers that are just like something that is normally answered by a trailer, and I've shared most of them in this video. But I would be very interested in playing this game. So yeah, that's Atlas Fallen. Let me know what your thoughts are. Were you a fan of the Surge of the Surge 2, or are you just now being introduced to this development group for the first time? How do you feel? Put your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, 2 great places to do so are Discord and Twitter, although Twitter is called X now, so whatever, twitter.com still gets you there. I am also on Threads and Blue Sky, so pick your poison when it comes to vertically scrolling text-focused social media apps. And let's have a conversation, much like the one that we've been having on stream with chat here, because this video is recorded live on Twitch, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you do watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you, and enjoy.